Thanks for joining us for 5 on 5. I'm Joe Sullivan, pleased to be joined today by Senator Wyden. Senator, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Now, the U.S. Postal Service, let's talk about that. How do you think they're doing in Oregon delivering the mail here? Could it be better?
We call it, the postmaster is Mr. DeJoy, and we call his program DeJoy's debacle.
Wow.
Because we're seeing particularly rural folks in this area and all around the state going through what amounts to bureaucratic water torture, because their mail, even if they're sending a letter a relatively short distance, seems to go hither and yon, usually ends up in Portland, then gets shipped back. It's a mess. And what we need to do is basically stop it. We need to block DeJoy's consolidation program. There is a board that is supposed to oversee what goes on. They need to take another look, but the immediate need is to stop this mess because it's causing so much confusion for seniors who need medicine. It's particularly hard on small businesses because if they can't get their mail, sometimes that raises their costs. We can't afford that for our small businesses.
Recently, the Port of Coos Bay was awarded $25 million. Could you talk about the economic impact and the jobs that that'll bring to the area?
We have 25 million reasons now to feel good, and we're talking about thousands and thousands of jobs, perhaps 8,000 as you look at a full kind of plan. And these are going to be good paying jobs. The West Coast needs more port capacity. And what I've always said is on my watch, what I want to do is grow things in Oregon, make things in Oregon, add value to them in Oregon, and ship them all over the world because the world loves to buy Oregon. This gives us a chance to do more of that.
Certainly good news there. Now, you introduced sweeping reform of the United States Supreme Court. Could you talk about why?
I believe, and I hear this at all my town hall meetings, we need some more balance in the court. Particularly today, people look at some of the ethical problems and other areas where there isn't transparency and accountability. And so what I've said is over, in effect, 3 presidential terms, we would add a handful of new justices. I think that ensures that we're better positioned to modernize the court, and not one political party is likely to control everything.
Now, you talked about why you want transparency from hospitals related to women denied emergency reproductive health care. This is certainly an issue you're passionate about.
I feel very strongly about this because this is federal law. When a hospital gets Medicare dollars, which is virtually every hospital, it is required to see patients, including patients who are coming for reproductive health care services. And we have heard really horrendous stories about women facing miscarriages, for example. The doctors seem to be playing lawyers, lawyers seem to be playing doctors, and women are suffering.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and be back with part 2 of our 5 on 5 right after this. Welcome back to part 2 of our 5 on 5 with Senator Wyden, and what can be done to make it a little bit smoother with forestry?
My 2 priorities are, first, we need more prescribed burns. We need to go in there during the colder weather months and reduce the fuel load on the forest floor. We set a record this year in terms of fire all over the state, and we've just got to do better. Prescribed burns are going to be part of it. And second, I'm working on a way to fund firefighters and make that a program that is available year-round, and the firefighters would get a wage that was competitive. I have town hall meetings in every county every year. I've had 1,100 of them. Opened all will be at Phoenix High School tomorrow. And when I see help wanted signs in rural communities in Oregon, they often pay better than do the firefighter salaries.
There are 34 Senate seats up on this election. Are you concerned that the Senate could flip to Republican?
I believe that we're going to keep control. It obviously is a very challenging election season, a lot of very close races, but I believe we're going to prevail because we're the folks who have been playing offense on the effort to control costs, particularly in areas that are important to Southern Oregon, like controlling prescription drug costs. I wrote the legislation that lifted the restrictions so that Medicare could bargain to hold down the cost. It was my priority as chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. Those are the issues people care about. Those are the issues we emphasize, and I think that's why we'll be successful.
We've got about a minute left. Is there anything happening in D.C. that our viewers should know about that we haven't touched upon?
Well, obviously, you know, the election is front and center now, but we're going to have a very busy lame duck session. I think healthcare will be very important then. The big issue for rural Oregon, for Southern Oregon, will be reining in these pharmaceutical benefit managers that are jacking up costs, and we'll have a number of bills relating to forestry as well.
Senator Wyden, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
All right, stay with us. We'll be back with more local news after this.